and this whole floor slopes down that way about 5/8 of an inch or more, 3/4 of an inch. And so my thought here is, before they had the water kind of flowing out that way, I lifted it up, but I still had to make sure that I had enough height for my tile to fit underneath here. And I do now that I lifted that up, but I had to lower this corner. I don't know if you saw that video or not. Well, I went through a whole thought process before I installed this floor because I wanted everything to flow right. The water's going to flow at an angle down this way. And so when I get to this point, if you can visualize the water coming down here, the water's going to come down at about this point. And if I can float this, I have to screw this down. And if I float this from this point on down, then I'm going to have to go from here to where my low spot is over here. Okay? So when the water comes down, it's going to hit right in here, and I'm going to encourage the water to flow this way before it flows out. I don't want it to get close to the column, and that's going to work out good because then I raise this edge and this slopes downhill. So when the water comes from here, it's going to go this way, and then it's going to trickle on down this way before it goes out. And that's how that's going to work. And how am I going to do that? I'm going to use my Durham's Rock Hard water putty for that. I could have got some other stuff at the store. They had some other stuff, kind of like Fix-All, but it wasn't Fix-All, it was something else, and it came 25 pounds bag. And I guess I could have used that, but ultimately I want to use my Durham's Rock Hard water putty for these stairs too. And I'm going to end up going down here anywhere where there's a hairline crack. This is even in the new wood. And I'm going to probably coat this. This was a 2x6 and it happened to be rough kind of on both sides of the wood. I'm going to smooth that over before I paint it. And I come over here, I'm going to smooth this one out before I paint it. There's a couple marks. And then in the existing stairs, this was actually like a glue lamb beam or something. These were 2x4s. Boom, 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 boom. And it mimicked a 4x12. I don't know why they used that out here. They should have used just regular 4x12 material, but they didn't. Let's see, you can see where the check marks are. That's the 2x4, 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 2x4. So anywhere after I scrape this loose paint off, anywhere where it's low, where there's a crack, I'll probably skin every single one of these. You can see where I'm going to have to do the work, right? Let me look down here. See that? And I'm going to use that rock hard wood putty there. Then I'll prime these stairs, and then I'll caulk them in, and then I'm even thinking about putting a coat of this elastomeric roof coating right over the stairs. Yes, putting that on each one of these after the primer, let's say, and I'll see how that works. Maybe put a couple coats of that on before I repaint the stairs this color. I'm hoping I can repaint right over that roof coating. I'm thinking about doing all that to those stairs. That way I can get them nice and water resistant, so that they'll be working for years to come. I don't want these to leak. I don't want them to crack. I don't want them to get dry rot in there. Every time you get a crack, you get water in there, you get dry rot starting to happen. Okay? And speaking of primer, once I put the water putty in all the cracks and the areas where I want to float and everything, that's going to take me a while to just do that. But once I get all that done, then what I'm thinking of doing is even using the primer, that mold killer primer that I used. I don't have a can of it out here right now, but I'm thinking about going ahead and priming this, putting 2 coats of primer on here before I put my elastomeric roof coating on. Before I put this roof coating on, I'm going to go ahead and paint this with that primer. And that's going to help stick to this. It's going to fill up any voids, and I decided to put the rough side of this flooring facing up. And usually that's what they do anyways on flooring, because you can see the black lines here. These black lines don't necessarily have to be where your floor joists are. They just help you line up. Like if your floor joist, let's say your floor joist is right here and you nail it at both ends, then you can say, okay, it's about 5 inches off of here. I can eyeball that. Tap, 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 tap. And you know exactly where that is. That kind of helps you with that. I thought that was kind of a good idea that they put those black lines on there for that. And I'm going to put the primer on there. That's going to help bond right down to here, because you can see little hairline ridges on here. That's going to help the primer stick to that. That's also going to help the roof coating stick to that. Now this roof coating should stick to just about anything, because it's designed to be put on really super old roofing that maybe you thought, I think I should maybe have to tear all that off and put a new roof. Well, this is like, hey, you don't have to do that. Just put this stuff on and go right over your existing roof. That's what this stuff is designed to do. Okay, and like I say, they have different numbers. This happens to be, let's see what the number is. This is called 587. Okay, see that? That 587 is a certain number for this Durabrite elastomeric roof coating. Elastomeric means that it'll stretch. Once you put it on there, if your wood is floating around a little bit, this stuff stretches to a certain extent before it'll crack. So it's like putting a rubbery surface on here. And I'm going to end up putting, because it's such a small area, I'm going to put it on with a paint roller. And I may not be able to get it as thick as getting one of those big thick brushes, but those big thick rollers. But I only need to do this amount. So I'll probably end up putting 3 coats or so, as thick as I can, on there with my little mini roller, and put it on as thick as I can, and then just put a few different coats on there until I think it's good enough. And I think I can do that with this. And like I say, 1 gallon's probably not going to be enough. I don't know, it might be. It might be enough for 3 or 4 coats on here. We'll see. But anyway, that's how I'm planning on filling up this entire surface and making this almost like a roof before I put the tile down. Before I relay the floor tile, then I got to put this stuff back, and I saved it from before. There's a little nylonish webbing cloth over the top of these little dimples, and these are just plastic. This is just plastic. I could probably break one if I wanted. I'm squeezing it right now. It's dimpled from the back side. It's just got plastic over it, see? Plastic, that plastic sheeting. See, it's just plastic. And they ended up just, I don't even know where you get that stuff, so I was lucky enough to save most of it that I pulled off. And I'm just gonna reuse this stuff that I had, and I guess that's like a cushion to take up any imperfections, because the flooring's not perfect. See, like this tile is lower than that one. This one's up a little bit higher. I don't know why, but maybe the floor, this stuff got pushed down in one area and not another. But anyways, they've got that throughout this whole floor. And oh, here's the other trick I was going to do. After I put the the elastomeric roof coating on, 3 or 4 coats of that. I'm gonna end up running it about to here, so I'll pull this back and do that. Then, an unorthodox way, but I'm gonna do it anyways. At the store they had some Vitech rolled material that you put on houses. It's called Vitech, and it's to weatherize your house before you put stucco on, before you put siding on, and it comes 9 foot wide, 150 foot long roll. And years ago, they didn't have that. When I was putting siding on houses and stuff, we had to use craft paper, building paper. It was only 3 foot wide. It's paper. You put it on there, and then you staple it. Then you put the next one on over that, overlap it 2 or 3 or 4 inches, then staple it. Or black tar paper. They didn't have this. We didn't have the luxury of 9 foot wide sheeting stuff like this Tyvek to put on. Nowadays they have it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it underneath this over my roofing coating, my roof coating, and I'm going to roll it out here, and I'm just going to put it on as a membrane, because they have plastic underneath this. See this? I mean, I don't know why they had that. Maybe it was like, well, if water comes through here, it gets on the back. If it gets on the back side, you've got a secondary plastic to direct the water out this way. Well, I'm going to use that Vitech paper, that Vitech plastic stuff. You can't rip that stuff, and I'm not gonna attach it. It's just gonna be like another water deterrent. If the water gets underneath that, chances are the water won't get under that. But if the water ever did get under that, if it got a hairline crack on it, or a rip on it, or just a little dimple, nail or something, if the water got underneath that, then it's just going to go on my roof coating anyways, and the roof coating is going to take the water out. Okay, that's going to be like my secondary thing. And when I put that on, I'm actually going to cut it, and I'm going to roll that up too, or I'm going to cut it flat, and then I'm going to roll up some of that webbing stuff right here. I'll use this over the top of that and fold it and run this up the side of the wall, up underneath the stucco trim up here, and I'm actually gonna seal that right in around here, other than out in the front, because I want all the water directed out towards the front. So where I cut it on the side, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it up the side. I'm going to cut it here and wrap that webbing stuff up around there. I'm going to tie the whole sucker in, other than out front. And that's going to be another water deterrent, because this floor must slope. It's probably 3/4 of an inch or more in about 6 feet. I put my level on here. I've got to lift this side up about 3/16 or so, and that's in 2 feet. Let's try it right here. Three-sixteenths or so, or 1/4 in 2 feet. So that's 3/8 in 4 feet, and almost 5/8 to 3/4 of an inch in 6 feet. Okay, so I know there's plenty of slope over here. When the water hits, which way is water going to go? It's going to go downhill. It's never going to go back uphill, is it? So I'm not really concerned about that. I'm not concerned about it having a flat spot in here or anything. Yeah, I'm listening to the song Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow, and I won't.
That's all I got for this time, but I'll be back tomorrow with more videos.